Right, here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to Chelsea News. A lot of Chelsea news today, right? Okay, so it turns out regarding Romelu Lukaku and his comments to Sky Sports in Italy, super reporter Fabrizio Romano surgically picked a few sentences that I think weren't even direct translations and kind of, I don't want to say took them out of context because that's a little bit too strong, but basically spun a very potent story out of a long interview that turns out was a few weeks ago, and I'm going to reflect on that today, read the quotes, talk about why Lukaku's actually upset systemically, excuse me, and also just talk about his relationship with Tuchel moving forwards. So I'm imagining a lot of people who are watching this have watched my previous upload. I think I was pretty measured and not hyperbolic, and coming from, I assumed that interview was done before the Villa game, and I was correct in my assumption. I saw some people criticising me for making the video and not waiting for further context, which I was a little bit offended by, because my job here on Football Therapy and what I pride myself in doing is reacting to news as quick as possible so you guys have it while it's still fresh. And, it's my job not to be too reactionary, which I hope I wasn't. And that's pretty much exactly what I did. And I had every reason to react to Fabrizio Romano's stories or tweets, and ultimately there were quotes. So I don't feel like I was wrong to do so, and I pretty much echoed all the correct sentiments in said video about Lukaku being a Chelsea boy, and I believe all of that. And I still believe that, and I still, to be honest, am frustrated and a little bit upset that he still said those things. About Inter and Chelsea. We'll talk about Chelsea in a moment, and we'll read some quotes. I'm going to cite a few quotes that I actually got from the Telegraph article from Matt Law that was published an hour ago. I understand that the nature of this interview Romelu Lukaku did with this Sky Italy or Sky Sports Italy was to mend the relationship with Inter, not to have any bad blood or demons haunting over him. That's the incentive. So I get that. And that's what he's trying to do, but you still need to be lucid about, what you're saying, regardless to whatever the context, the incentive. He still said some unsettling things. You've got Belgium journalist Christophe Terreur saying, he talks a lot. People saying this is what he does. And ultimately, he's in form. He's won 2 consecutive man of the matches, and by all accounts, he's had a lot of talks with Tuchel since this interview. But for me, before we get into this and I read you quotes and I give you more information, I don't want to completely, because I know many of you are still very, very upset with his comments. A lot of people are, saying Lukaku out, and I'm never going to be that hyperbolic, but I understand why some people are still frustrated. But it's best to calm down a little bit here and to not go mad one way or another. Okay. So let's get into this. So this is from Matt Law's article on the Telegraph. I'm going to cite you just a couple of things here. In an interview intended to try and build bridges with Inter fans who were angered by his exit, Lukaku was first asked how he was. And this is how it started. "How are you doing?" And he said, "Physically I'm fine. Even better than before, but I'm not happy with the situation. This is normal. I think the coach has chosen to play with another module," which would mean system in terms of Italian phraseology. I just have to not give up and continue to work and be professional. I'm not happy with this situation, but I'm a worker and I must not give up." So off the bat, he's saying, I'm not happy because maybe he's not playing. If you look at the context of Fabrizio, and go back and watch my last upload, the context of Fabrizio Romano, the 3 tweets or whatever he did, I read it all linearly, so you can go back and watch that video for context. He makes it like a sensational story. He said these 3 things. He said, "I'm not happy at Chelsea, I love Inter, I'm sorry, and I want to return to Inter in my prime," which, by the way, he still sort of said, which is worrying, and that's still, I don't want to completely sweep everything under the carpet now more context has come out, because it's still unsettling for me, and I prefer people, to be professional, not talking. Okay, and also Matt Law goes on, "It's worth noting after scoring against Aston Villa on Boxing Day, When he turned the game in Chelsea's favour, of course, one of the 2 Man of the Match awards he won, Lukaku said, "Me and the coach, we had a couple of conversations about whatever he wanted from me. Obviously, I told him I'm multi-dimensional. It's just about having a bit of clarity about how he wants to use me, and then whatever he wants from me. I can do whatever aspects he wants of the game. I can run in behind, I can press, I can hold up the ball. So I think throughout my years, these qualities I've added to my game. So I just wanted the opportunity. I got it today. I'm happy that I helped the team. Now I just want to move forwards." So this interview he's done with Sky Italy was 3 weeks ago. And obviously those quotes are just a few days ago. I'm just going to sip my tea. One sec. Got this sore throat thing. Don't worry, it's not the big virus. I'm totally fine for that. So, yeah, I understand why Romelu Lukaku's not happy, and I was personally raising eyebrows myself why Thomas Tuchel wasn't selecting him. We could speculate from some of the quotes from this interview that he perhaps thought he was going to play in a 2-striker system with like a Werner or someone else, like he flourished so well at Inter with Lautaro Martinez, but who does he play with? And, you know, it's great to have an illustrious midfield of Kante, Kovacic and Jorginho, but who's his strike partner? It has to be like a Werner or a Pulisic. Do you know what I mean? What happens with conventional wingers, and what happens with a sort of conventional inside 10s like Mason Mount, who's Chelsea's top goal scorer this season, Chelsea's top assist maker this season, Chelsea's player of the season last season. I don't think Mount's got, you know, a given right to play every game, but the way he trains and applies himself, he sort of has to be in the side as things stand. So, do I think Lukaku has to play in a 2-striker system? Absolutely not. I feel like as long as you can play to his strengths and running that right channel like he did a lot in the last 2 games, then you can make it work. Because, you know, things are exploding here. Like, I don't understand why Fabrizio Romano did this. Well, I do understand it because he wanted the exposure and impressions and clicks and stuff. But, you know, I tweeted out a joke like, how much did Jurgen Klopp pay Fabrizio Romano to spin this story 2 days before Chelsea versus Liverpool to cause an implosion? Because the social media reaction was, you know, palpable. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think Thomas Tuchel is a top 3 manager in the world, and I don't think any manager is safe at Chelsea inherently because of how we function, how we work, and what history dictates. But, you know, Chelsea won't get a better manager than Thomas Tuchel right now. They won't. He's a top 5 manager in the world, you know, and 4 of them are in the Premier League already, in my opinion. So we won't get a better manager than Thomas Tuchel, but Chelsea look at Romelu Lukaku as one of the best strikers in the world, but more importantly, an £100 million asset, their record signing in his prime. Chelsea have historically sided with the players, so should this have been a bit more of a potent story, maybe these comments came out today and Fabrizio Romano was reporting on them, this would cause huge problems. And suddenly you've got Tuchel versus Chelsea's most expensive historical asset, who's on a 5-year deal and cost them, you know, 100 million just in a transfer fee, but, you know, wages as well. Think of like the tens and tens of millions on top. Suddenly Tuchel's nowhere near as valuable. You know, as long as they keep getting in the Champions League, which is pretty easy for a Chelsea squad like this, they'll just get another manager. But for me, as a fan, I obviously want to compete and win, and you won't get a better manager than Tuchel's. Saying that, I'm not fully happy with how things have gone. I'm not going to criticise Tuchel because he's been put in a really, really difficult situation where loads of stuff's gone wrong, and we've been pretty unlucky at times. Yes, I want to see Chelsea attack more. Yes, I want to see more coherence and chemistry in the attackers, but I want a lot of things. I think Chelsea can have that. I think they can develop that. I think Lukaku coming back, scoring 2 games, 2 goals in whatever how many minutes is really good. His actual goals to minutes return is pretty darn good. I think he's on for like 18, 19 league goals in the season in terms of minutes per goal, if he played a full season, that is. Sorry, I don't mean to confuse you there. But like, the returns are not awful, and for him, it's not good enough. So everything seems okay now with Lukaku and Tuchel. They seemingly had discussion since this. I think it's just come out at a difficult time, and Fabrizio Romano has done a destructive spin story and nothing least. Hopefully, I've expressed my full feelings on this without being dramatic and hyperbolic, and hopefully, you guys understand why I initially reacted to Fabrizio Romano reporting quotes from Romelu Lukaku, and I don't even think I was that dramatic with it. I just reacted as a Chelsea fan would, but I'm not still 100% happy with it. I'm still disappointed those comments were made. Yes, I understand wanting to heal the past of Inter, but you're at Chelsea now. You know, you have to make sure that's your and Chelsea are in trouble. We are in a difficult spell. Don't say stuff that can make it difficult for us more so when you've got to look after your club first, and then you can heal pasts and stuff. And going saying he wants to he's going to be 29 in May, and he says he wants to return to Inter while he's still in his prime. What's that? So what? Well, you want to go next transfer? Do you know what I mean? He still said those things. I love Romelu Lukaku. Generally, I love his attitude. I don't know. I've talked about his kiss the badge. He's kissed the badge at every club he's been to, but I do genuinely think feels like he wants to make it at Chelsea. He's going to have to start convincing me a little bit more again, because I'm very frustrated with all that's coming out. But then again, it's a bit of a crap show at the moment at Chelsea. December! We're still technically in December, eh? So you thought it was done with you, but it's not. Anyway, guys, I hope this updated information is helpful and my commentary on it, you enjoyed it. Please do drop a like, show support, and consider subscribing if you enjoy my thoughts on the beautiful game and Chelsea Football Club. Alright, guys, peace.